So welcome everybody to the Meet the YouTube Filmmakers panel. This is part of the Google Santa Monica Speakers Series, and we want to thank the Santa Monica office for sponsoring the event tonight. Yes, bravo. My name is Sara, Pollack, and I'm the Film Community Manager at YouTube. And we're going to start by just introducing the panelists and watching a quick clip from each of them to introduce you to their work. So we're going to jump right in and then talk for about 40 minutes and open it up for a Q&A for about 20 minutes after that. So first we have Ben Shelton. Ben is a local filmmaker who got his start on YouTube making comedy videos, and the success of his videos brought him the attention of companies like Fox and the NBA, both of whom have commissioned his work. In a more serious turn, Ben recently directed the short film My Name is Lisa for YouTube's Project Direct, which was our first short film competition. The short came in third place and went on to win the YouTube Award for Best Short Film in 2007, and it has since been viewed over 2 million times. So we're going to watch the first minute of My Name is Lisa.
Hi, my name is Lisa, and I've been inspired by my mom to tell everyone to walk away from their computers and read more books.
So you're using the computer to tell them to stop using the computer?
That's my Lisa. Use their addictions like a weapon.
Now I have to start over.
Now is your lunch break.
You already made me a lunch. I had a sandwich 5 minutes ago. I only need one lunch.
Oh.
What's up, Mom?
Hi, Lisa.
Are you going somewhere?
I guess not.
I'm going inside.
Me too. I'm going inside.
So that's actually a very moving story about a young girl who's dealing with her mother who is suffering from Alzheimer's disease. So you can check it out on the site if you'd like to see the rest of it. Next we have Mike Belmont. Mike is an animator and director who has been on YouTube since the very early days of 2005, where he's known to his fans as M. Strange. His feature film, We Are the Strange, screened at the 2007 Sundance Film Festival and turned into a cult classic. About a month ago, Mike uploaded the film to YouTube in 17 different languages, all translated voluntarily by his fans, and the videos have already received over 1 million views. Mike speaks about digital distribution on panels around the world, and along with Arin Crumley, is a founder of From Here to Awesome, which is an online festival to help filmmakers distribute their work. So we're going to take a quick look at the trailer for We Are the Strange. Next, we have Francis Stokes. Francis is also a local filmmaker and a graduate of the Tisch Film School at NYU. He was one of the first users to be invited into the YouTube Partner Program, following the success of his comedic series God, Inc., which was picked up by the Sci-Fi Channel last summer. And after the long writer's strike, Francis is working on the pilot for them now. His feature film, Harold Buttleman, Daredevil Stuntman, was featured on the homepage of YouTube last summer and currently has over 1 million views. And we're going to take a quick look at an episode of God, Inc.
Sara Melody Church. You're going to be product development, right?
That's right.
Okay. Birth.
June 3rd, 1976.
And death?
November 5th, 2006.
How did you die?
Leukemia.
Ooh, ouch. That sucks.
Yeah, it was pretty painful. But I had the support of my friends and family, so that meant a lot.
Yeah, isn't there a cure for that?
No.
Oh, yeah. That's next year. Well, let's give you the tour.
Thanks, Francis. Okay. Next, we have Arin Crumley. Arin and his collaborator, Susan Weiss, who's in the audience here, made the film Four-Eyed Monsters, which played at about a dozen film festivals, won the 2006 Sundance Channel Undiscovered Gems Award, and was nominated for 2 Independent Spirit Awards, before being the first film ever featured on the homepage of YouTube, where it received over 1 million views. IFC recently picked up the broadcast rights, and Arin also speaks about digital distribution at panels around the world. We're going to watch a trailer for one of Arin and Susan's upcoming podcasts, which details the evolution of their film and their relationship.
The music in this episode is by Francois, Dixie Scumbag, and The Golden Pastime.
And the name of this episode is Shock. In an abyss of emptiness, we found each other.
We pulled each other out of isolation and wanted it to last.
So we created a home. And gave birth to a project.
What we had created was bigger than us. And we lost ourselves. I began to feel crazy. I became unhappy. I needed to become my own person again. I began a revolt.
And lastly, we have Javier Prado. Javier is an Argentinian filmmaker who moved to Los Angeles in 1998 to pursue his film career. His short films have screened at festivals around the world, and his short Jesus Christ the Musical gained him internet fame. Javier also entered YouTube's Project Direct film competition, and his film Empty Arms was selected as one of the top 20 finalists by a panel led by the award-winning director Jason Reitman. We are going to take a look at Javier's reel.
From the director of Jesus Will Survive, Into a New Dawn comes an epic of bloody proportions.
Ya está. A ver cómo te queda.
Hola?
You don't understand what it's like until you have to live with it. Because no matter what I do.
And here we are, Dr. Mandela being seen at the Grand Capital Arena here in Vegas. Well, looks like he's in control to me.
Hey, what are you doing? Stop doing that!
Wow! just need a good idea, and the audience will follow.
So those are our panelists. I think you can tell all their work is very varied, but what they share is that they're all independent filmmakers self-distributing either feature films, short films, or web series online. So to start off, I want to talk a little bit about why. So Francis, we're going to start with you. Why post God Inc. online for free?
Why did I post it online for free? Well, at the time, I, more than anything, wanted an audience. I had just finished the feature film, and I had played festivals where, you know, you'd be lucky if 20 or 30 people came into the room. And so I decided with this new idea I was going to do something for no money and upload it to the internet and see if anybody watched it. And that was the goal, was more than anything to get my work out there to be seen.
So you mentioned film festivals. Mike, you're known as a pretty rebellious avant-garde filmmaker, but ultimately you chose to take your film We Are the Strange to Sundance Film Festival before posting it to YouTube. Why did you do that, and would you do it again?
I was just doing what I thought you were supposed to do, which was a great thing for like press and crap, but if I would do it again, I mean, I really look towards when I get a lot of stuff where people are asking about what film school they should go to or what festival, whatever. But I mean, my answer to everything now is like the interweb. So, I mean, I'm looking at YouTube for my next animated feature film I'm doing now, and that's probably where it will premiere, and I'll do everything online. Just because the stuff I make is so bizarre, it's like, it doesn't appeal to the masses, which was, I mean, evident at Sundance. When my movie played there, like half the audience walked out and asked for their money back. Like, they weren't the kind of people I want to impress anyway. Like, whatever. But the people I want to impress and the people that my stuff appeals to are online and are these new audiences that can find your stuff, and they're unable to find them at festivals in these places that are expensive and locked out and proprietary. And the internet is open and available to anyone in any culture. Like, I put my film up in 17 languages, so that's where I want to be. I want to be where the real people are who appreciate it, not the people who are there because they're looking for the next big thing or the buzz or whatever. So that's where the real film fans and people who appreciate it are now. So that's why I'm there.
Okay. But your technique is fairly progressive anyway, the content itself. Ben, My Name is Lisa is a little bit more traditional. And I think we've heard from sort of the traditional critics that YouTube is not necessarily a place for high quality content. Do you agree with that? How do you feel about that, having a film up there?
Hello, testing. There we go, yeah. Well, first, let me just say, honored to be up here with all these guys. I love the fact that it's very different work. You know, it's not like you saw the same clip 5 times in a row. But I think, taken from what you're saying, it's a traditional film. I made a short film for Project Direct. And YouTube, I think, was first known for basically the new America's Funniest Home Videos. You know, dog on skateboard or baby farts or whatever, something like that. But just like any new media, we're going to transition into a period where good content is good content. And I'm not trying to say my film is good content, but it just so happens that it is more of a traditional short film, and even though it's about a heavy topic like Alzheimer's and it's traditional, and I think the reason why it did well and the reason why I will continue to put work on YouTube is because we are bending in that direction. You know, America's Funniest Home Videos is not a primetime show anymore. I mean, it is, but it's not that popular. Eventually, you want to look for better content, and you want to look for something, a narrative film, short film, good storytelling. So.
And you think that exists on YouTube?
It will, yeah. I mean, right now is the transition. I mean, the fact is that YouTube is not that old. It's still in its beginning stages, and the fact that My Name is Lisa won short film of the year, it means something. I'm not sure exactly what it means, but it definitely means that we're getting ready to watch some more substantial content.
And do you think then, have sort of traditional schools, film school, for example, Javier, what do you think? Is that irrelevant now? Can anybody be a filmmaker?
Of course. You just need from a cell phone that can record video up to the red.
And is that a good thing for filmmaking if anybody can be a filmmaker?
Of course.
Yeah?
I mean, come on. I mean, in the 1920s, you know, where can you get a camera for under $150?
Okay. Do you guys agree?
Well, can we take from Ratatouille?
Yeah.
Everyone saw Ratatouille. Anyone can cook. That doesn't mean everyone should cook.
Right.
So anyone can make a movie. That doesn't mean everyone should. But yeah, anyone can, right?
Audiences should be the determinant, though. That's the difference, is that the audience decides, not some sort of funnel that is the distribution network. And that's what's great about the internet. I mean, I don't know about film school because I think that there was always the ability to make films. The difference was whether or not you could get them seen. You know, in the 90s, I never made any shorts because there really wasn't any way to get it seen by an audience.
Well, and I kind of think that like the internet age or like what happens on YouTube, there's kind of like some Darwinism like built into the process, like survival of the fittest, where if I were to be working in the traditional system, I would have all this P&A and all these publicists making it seem like I'm the coolest guy in the world and my stuff is the best ever, right? But when you're online, it's like sink or swim. There's no one doing that for you, so your content has to work on your audience or you're dead. So I think that, you know, leads to making better stuff in the end because we don't have this whole system supporting us, trying to make you seem like you're something you're not. You are what you are to your audience, or you're not, or you don't exist. So I think in the end, it'll lead to better content. And just since we're here on a stage, what you were talking about, I have this idea about like what YouTube is right now and what it will become. Just think of it like a giant open mic, right? Like you're here on the stage and like an open mic just started. Right when the open mic starts, all these people run to the front of the stage with face makeup and are making fart sounds and doing all this ridiculous stuff. And maybe people at first are like, oh, wow, that's so funny, that's so great. And there may be someone at the back of the stage reading their poetry that they developed for years that's beautiful and, you know, expresses whatever they have inside. Maybe you're making a short film that, you know, has a little more like content to it and you're in the back. You're going to be drowned out by those people, you know, for a while, just like YouTube is very new. But after a while, those audiences are going to be like, isn't there anything else there that has, you know, something to say or any meaning to it? And over time, they will find that content and look for it, and the tools will get more powerful to find it. So it's still evolving and it's still new. That's just something that I've observed.
So the focus there is on audience. So, I mean, obviously, Web 2.0 has been all about social networking, and with YouTube, you put your film up, users rate it, they comment, they make video responses. There's a ton of immediate feedback. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not so good, sometimes it's totally irrelevant. But Ben, with you, My Name is Lisa is, I think it's the 12th most discussed film of all time on YouTube. Do you enjoy that? Do you enjoy having that kind of interaction with your fans? Is it a pain? Is it a nuisance, or is it
No, I absolutely love it. I mean, the YouTube audience is expanding, you know, and I think that it's like what Mike was talking about earlier. When you go to a festival, there's certain type of people that go to film festivals, and it's, you know, they're usually with a company or they just like the art or whatever. Everyone's on the internet. Everybody, you know, from you know, probably 3-year-olds to, you know, your grandfather. So everyone's there. So the type of comments are going to range. Some of them, yeah, are not going to be that great or interesting, but others are going to be, you know, very, very interesting. And some of the right people are going to watch your work. Since we were talking about going to a festival first or going to YouTube first, I posted my film on YouTube first. Since then, I've been approached by film festivals that says, if you enter it in ours, it'll be an official selection already. So it's kind of like, if you go to YouTube or put your film online, everyone will see it, you know? I mean, it's not guaranteed, but that's the option, is that when you're on the internet, you're in someone's home, you're at work, you're everywhere, and so.
I think there's another thing about the fact that with the internet, the ability for niche marketing, you know, especially if you're a filmmaker, you know, like Mike, or something that has a specific audience, that the film festival approach is really, really kind of absurd under those circumstances. So the chance that someone who would dig your stuff might happen to walk in at that time. That's the beauty of the internet, is that the fact that the whole community online can connect to who finds your work resonates for them.
Well, and in the end, the whole film festival paradigm ends up killing culture, because then people will only make films that appeal to those buyers or to those audiences or whatever. But I mean, because that's kind of where I come from. I'm not practical at all. I just think about art and culture and like eating ice cream. But you know, the things that really matter to make you happy. But So I think in the end, it's going to like lead to a richer culture because there's these audiences that people can find on YouTube that are not anywhere else, and they'll make stuff that's different that will appeal to people. So I just look at it as more freedom, and that there's people that I can, you know, make happy with exploding head videos or something. But you know,
because it's more diverse. Whereas if we're relying on the traditional distribution channels, they're looking for the largest audience for every product they produce, and so there's a lot of stuff that I would like that they wouldn't do because my taste is too specific.
And everyone eventually gets to see it. I mean, if it's like what he was saying, survival of the fittest. If your video gets watched by a few, then bigger, then the right people with the money, with the distribution, they'll get a hold of it.
So do you think then that we are changing the film industry? And Mike, in particular, I mean, you have a ton of interaction with your fans. They translated the film for you. Do you think that relationship between you and your fans will change how films are made in Hollywood, or no?
I'm trying to raise the bar myself. Like, I'm trying to do stuff so that these kids, like most of the people that like my stuff are like 14, 15, they'll get used to that. And they'll be like, well, I can send a message to M.Strange and he'll send it back, or I can submit my, you know, picture of myself and he'll put it in their movie. So I am trying to raise the bar and do things like when my DVD came out, I put 7 soundtracks on it so that people could like switch through it. So I am trying to like nudge it in a new direction because, you know, for all these years there was no competition. Like Hollywood, or let's just say Hollywood, the film business, and had no competition. There was no one pushing on it. They were just getting richer and fatter and this bigger thing, and they can do whatever they want. They got lazy. And in the end, the viewer is the one that suffers. And if you're an artist or a creator or whatever, it's like your goal is to serve the audience. You have to give them the best that you can do, or else you're not doing your job. So in the end, I think it's better for everybody, for filmmakers, for viewers, but, you know, people have to choose to go independent, or choose, you know, they can't pretend like, I'm gonna put it on YouTube, and then, you know, if they get like a movie deal or something, like bye-bye internet, and, you know, go the regular way, because that's not good for anybody. But them, it's just another rich guy driving a BMW, but how many more of those do you need?
Okay, well, because you said that, I was going to try to talk about this at the end, but it raises an interesting point, which is, are we fighting Hollywood and the studio system here, or are we trying to get its attention?
Yes. I think that there is definitely a battle happening, a war happening between old media and new media. And I think that what's happening here, and I think a lot of the people in this room are a part of this, is that new media has just a more savvy, more in-tune way to distribute information, whether that be video information or anything. And old media is struggling to hold on to their kind of tried and true, monetarily successful system that is just making less and less and less sense every second that passes. So that's not going to be let go of easily. And I think we've seen lawsuits and things that have shown like that is a serious battle. And my confidence, if we have to take sides, I'm voting on new media, because who's going to win? In an age of information and internet, and you know, where digital basically is sort of like something that kids are basically born knowing these days, that's what I think is going to win.
Well, the way I look at it, like at its base, whatever war is fought is just going to be a battle for people's eyeballs. What are people watching? And people, it's getting to the point where people, they're going to stop, as like traditional media becomes less relevant, as people read less magazines and watch less TV, and everything goes more online, and films and music and everything starts advertising more online, then it's just a battle for eyeballs. And people's eyeballs, these generic eyeballs, like don't care where the stuff came from. If they like looking at it, they like looking at it. And that's where, I mean, if you want to, you just talk about a battle where it doesn't matter where the media is going to come from, whether it's from Warner Brothers or whether it's from some dude in a bedroom. And that's where the fight will start happening. And then, you know, it's all about getting an audience. And what better way is there to make an audience or keep an audience is to interact with them, you know, as close as we can to, you know, having verbal communication with someone in the same room, like something on YouTube. So that's why no matter what goes on, I cherish that connection. I keep doing that because I know for any type of media creator, it's just going to be a battle for your audience. In the end, I mean, before with traditional media, you didn't own your audience. They owned your audience, and they had, you know, would allow you access to your audience, but now you have them, so it's a battle for eyeballs and audience. And
yeah, but let's look at what their main asset is. What is traditional media's main asset? Well, the content. The creators that either write the content or produce it or shoot it or whatever talent actually brings it into manifestation. And that's, I think, the interesting time that we're in right now, where the creatives can say, okay, well, let's see, do I want to work within that system, or do I want to be my own, basically, micro studio, where I've got production, which is totally cheap. You know, you can get really cheap, super high quality cameras that rival the quality of film, and, or in some cases surpass the quality of film. And then you can have your own distribution channels with advertising revenue, or sales of DVDs off your own website, or even digital theaters that can, you know, you can release your films digitally all over the place. More and more theaters are getting decked out with digital projectors. So I think we're getting very close to a time where, from the creative's perspective, it just makes the most sense to produce your work and publish it to the web. And then from that published place, it kind of goes down into all these different, you know, screens. YouTube being a very important one, but also the whole other slew of cell phone and, you know, theater and home and all the places where you can digitally go. And I think that at that point, it really makes no sense to have a centralized film industry, because what you have is something much more efficient, which is a decentralized film industry, where every single one of us are our own little microscopic film industry with our own fan base, our own audiences, our own sort of, you know, support network for the stuff that we create.
Okay, wait, I have to add, but I'm really quick. But Arin, ultimately, I'm going to put you on the spot here, okay? So Forehead Monsters was on the site for about 9 months, but ultimately you had to take it down in order to accommodate a broadcast deal with IFC. So is that a conflict there?
Well, it's a hard-hitting question, and I like it. No, definitely. I mean, first of all, we didn't take it down. It's set in private, so we could reverse that at any moment. And IFC, if you're listening, we may do that at any moment. And let that be a threat, because no, it's been a major leveraging thing. What we have with our audience, the fact that after showing the film on YouTube, we went on to get a deal on to release the film nationwide on DVD and put it on TV. That's like completely unheard of. And it was because they saw the audience that we had. So it's the only reason we were even talking to them to begin with. Now, why can't it continue to be on YouTube at the same time? It's a good question. I mean, that's what I was rooting for. And I think that right now, you've got this kind of like, unfortunately, it's 2008 still. You know, it's like today's world is kind of icky and we're in between and it's sort of a mess. But no, I think that what they're failing to see, and this may change, we may be able to put it back up on YouTube, they're failing to see what we proved through all of our research, which is that when your film is online, DVD sales are more than they would otherwise be. Which begs the question, why isn't every single film that's ever existed online on YouTube? If it's discoverability and the conversation that happens and the sampling and the culture mashing that happens when something is online actually improves business, why would you argue with that? But right now, it's just kind of a scare thing where they're like, it's the internet, you know, it's black magic, and it could destroy us if we're not careful, you know.
It's just a domino effect. You know, it's a pyramid backwards. That's basically what it is.
What do you mean by that?
Well, what I mean is, you plant the seed online, and if 2 people like it, they send it out to their friends. And their friends will send it out to their other friends. And it will grow into a worldwide tree of information.
I like that analogy. So we're talking, yeah, that's lovely.
It's as simple as that.
No, but so we're, yeah, sure.
Can I just say one thing? Taking off what Arin was saying, I mean, for a while now, we've had, you know, pirated versions of films available on the internet if you search for them and, you know, get in there. And yet, 100 million people, $100 million was the weekend gross of Iron Man last weekend, right? I mean, the fact is that people are still going to keep going to the theaters. And I just want to say that right now, like, I love my film online, but seeing it on the big screen with these great speakers, listening to the music, I mean, that's still going to be part of our culture. Like, online is one part of it, and in the theater is another part of it. So there's definitely wars going on, but I think in the end, it's a way of getting that all connected. And so I do also want to give credit to my brother Josh out here, who co-wrote the film My Name is Lisa, and also wrote that music that you heard Didn't that sound pretty good on these speakers? That's what I thought.
Okay, so is that then, let's talk a little bit about the drawbacks, because obviously I think we all agree that there are a ton of pluses to being online and finding an audience, but okay, so seeing it, it's not quite the same as seeing it on the big screen. Yeah, what are some of the other drawbacks? Before we go too positive, I mean, Arin, you basically distributed your film online, built a huge audience online. You have a ton of engineers in the room right now. What were the difficulties? What do you wish existed that didn't?
Well, okay, the number one problem with the internet right now in terms of filmmaking is discovery. With all of this material, how the hell are you going to navigate your way through to what's relevant to you? And so this is, I, to be honest, would have expected to see more from YouTube by now, because when I first started seeing what was going on, I'm like, oh, we're just months away from it really coming together, where you could start, you know, comparing people's friends' networks with what's being favorited and come up with a really interesting discovery environment where instead of sitting down at your television to flip through 50 channels, you sit down at like 50 of the most relevantly selected videos that maybe come from your subscription channel or maybe from your friends' favorites mashed together with what else is going on, maybe in your geographical area, maybe with some other topics that you've been tracking and bookmarking, and maybe with some other music you've been listening to. Because that's where I really see this whole Web 2.0 thing evolving to, which is the integration of it all that really empowers the individual, so that you're essentially a powerhouse of discovery, whether it's finding information, as Google obviously has made an amazingly capable thing, or whether it's finding videos that either entertain you or have the information that you need or are somehow just relevant. And so right now, there's tons of amazing films that maybe get a couple hundred views. So we've been fortunate in that the stuff that we've done has caught, like you were talking about with the upside down pyramid, and people did spread it. And there's sort of a slow, kind of organic discovery mechanism built in just to the nature of the internet. Obviously, people can email links, but I'm talking about something that's hyper. And what I would love to see is us get to a day where it does integrate with theatrical. So if something is made in a bedroom in Zimbabwe, by like the next week, because of the explosion that's been happening, it could be being booked in theaters or showing up on all kinds of other screens that are all connected to the same sort of system of scalability. The thing that we're working towards here is for every piece of content to reach its full potential. And that's been the frustrating thing about going to film festivals, is you're just sitting there and you're like, okay, these 12 people, I don't know if this is the full potential of this film. Let's be in an environment where we can reach that full potential.
Exactly. It's like a representation, a physical representation of what is happening with the internet. You know, the way we can distribute films. You know, it's basically, it's all about sharing. You know, we started, sharing our films. That was it. I mean, I did it. I didn't my shorts or whatever experiments I do with video, but my main goal is to reach an audience, and you give me that gift, and of course I'm going to take advantage of that.
Can I springboard off
Sure.
of that, which is that my main goal was also to reach an audience. But if you ask what the biggest drawback of the internet is right now, in my opinion, it's the other side of the coin for artists creating content, which is monetization. You know, not everybody has, very, 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 very tiny, very few people have been as successful as Four-Eyed Monsters in terms of distribution through the web, self-distribution through the web, or even Got Inc., which was indirect. I mean, Got Inc. didn't make me money, but,
Do you want to just maybe share a little bit about what you did with Four-Eyed Monsters and...
Yeah. Well, we built the first core audience by releasing 8 episodes that kind of documented the creation of our film, and also went into the difficulty of being in a relationship and making a film about that relationship and how that had compromised the relationship. And so that got all these people on board that were watching and really wondering, what had happened to this film. And we had already made this film and we're kind of had given up on it, but then we decided, there's enough people here where we could probably self-distribute this film. So we asked everybody to give us their zip code so we could figure out where all these online audiences were. And then we actually built a Google map with the help of a friend that showed these hearts above each city. And a larger heart represented a city that had more people saying that they wanted to see the film. And we were able to actually use that map to talk to theaters and say, listen, we've got all these people that want to see the film in these cities. Can you book it? And some of them were forward thinking enough to be like, okay, we'll give it a shot. And instead of losing money theatrically, which even most mainstream films, definitely most independent films lose money theatrically, we did it intelligently enough using information, backed with information to make sure that we wouldn't lose any money. And we had all these sold out screenings, and it did really well. Eventually it got to 30 cities nationwide. And so from there we decided to start selling DVDs. Anybody who has a film today that wants to start selling DVDs, there's tons of solutions out there, B-side, DVD Baby, there's all these options.
Great space.
Yeah, and so you can just have that going, and you get all the money, you hold on to all the rights yourself. And then we wanted to expand the film and get it out further, so we started talking about posting the entire thing on Google Video, and our contact at Google Video, George Strompoulos, had moved over to YouTube, and he said, why don't you do this on YouTube? And we're like, YouTube? The movie's 70 minutes. There's no such thing as a 70-minute YouTube video. And he's like, I think that we could try it. Let's talk to the technical team. And we started working out a way that we could do that. And then a sponsor came on board that said, for everyone that we could get to go join their site, spout.com, they're like a startup website, they would give us $1. So we tacked on a message to the beginning of the film saying, hey, welcome to our film. If you want to support our filmmaking, go join this site, spout.com/4eyedmonsters. And because then the film got all this blogosphere attention for being the first feature film on YouTube, and it was on the homepage thanks to Sara, and people were spreading the links around, and it was just getting all over the place. So many people saw the film that we were able to get 50,000 people to join spout.com and made $50,000. So between that and the IFC deal and the DVD release that we're doing right now, and we're on shelves and borders everywhere as of last Tuesday, this is the first week of our release, the film has grossed $250,000. So, and this is an independent film that Susan and I made in our loft in Bushwick, thinking probably no one was ever going to see it. But it just so happened to strike a chord, and we were able to kind of push it out there.
Ben, let me ask you, how much should filmmakers then, do you think, participate in defining the business model? Because you guys did not wait for companies to figure out the ad revenue question. You directly took your audience and you leveraged it to create revenue stream. How much should is the burden shared for filmmakers to figure out a way to monetize their content, or is it all on
the the Wild West right now, which is what's so amazing, is anything you can think of, you can try. And the Workbook Project, run by Lance Weiler, is a great environment where he's interviewing on podcasts everybody who's trying the craziest things, from the people who did Lonely Girl 15 to interviewing just all kinds of filmmakers that are really pushing the envelope. And who better to determine what the new film industry is than the filmmakers? We're at an amazing opportunity, and we actually, you mentioned From Here to Awesome. One of the reasons that we co-created From Here to Awesome is to bring together filmmakers and collectively define, how do we want this industry to work? What licenses do we want to put on our films that allow companies to distribute them and monetize them freely, sending all the payee back to the origin, to the creator? What can be done? And I think it's wide open right now for what can be done, and who's most agile. It's not the old media companies.
Ben, you're writing the feature version of My Name is Lisa now, based on the success of the short film. When that is complete, is that something that you would post to YouTube and try and replicate this model, or would the preference be to find a producer in Hollywood and get studio distribution?
I don't think there is a preference. I think YouTube, it just depends on what type of film we're talking about, and I think when we're all talking about online versus theatrical, we're talking about specific type of projects, and we're talking about reaching the biggest audience. And so I think in a certain time, what we're saying is it's not going to be a question of which anymore. It's just going to be of which first, maybe. But everything is going online, and everything's going in the theater. But I think I wanted to go back to one thing we were talking about, filtering through to find good content. Yeah. Right now, YouTube has, you got your stars, your 5 stars, you got your favorites, and comments. I think it would be great to have, because YouTube is just another outlet for filmmakers, to have a section that really was able to give people the ability to rate cinematography. rate writing, rate acting, directing, scoring, you know, I mean, every single aspect of filmmaking, so then you could even filter even more, you know, and that's not going to be for, you know, baby farts or, you know, kid on a skateboard, but, you know, for specific filmmakers, there could be a hub, a part of YouTube that was more for that, so that then we would address the open mic.
Mm-hmm.
That's really interesting.
Mm-hmm. What about the rest of you? I mean, the time flies very quickly, and we're going to wrap up and open for questions, but you have a room full of brilliant engineers here, both from Google and outside. What are some of the challenges that you would want to extend to them going forward? Anybody?
I would throw out editing, you know, you know, because one of the main things, again, I would have expected, well, in fact, you guys, there is an editing tool in YouTube, and I think that that's an interesting step in a very cool direction. Because, you know, I think that you should be able to sample any movie that exists already and create a comment thread on that portion of a movie, and that just shouldn't be a problem. Like, I don't think those things should be getting kicked off there, because I know a lot of young filmmakers that use the dialogue of discussing other pieces of movies to actually be learning their filmmaking and to sort of be able to piece apart things and you know, dissect video. I think we need to start thinking of video as not just one stream that's continuous, but with the new editing software that I think will eventually allow edit by edit posting, so that every little small piece of edited material can be broken down and mashed up in different ways. And so I think that it's very important to think about that, how video can be remashed. But then also at lunch today, we were talking about translation and the idea that, you know, when you're editing your video, you've got all kinds of text and metadata and timestamps, geostamps. A lot of cameras are recording a crazy amount of stuff, but that gets lost the second you export it to a video file that can be posted to YouTube. But what about maintaining this metadata? You know, and it's wide open for standards. There's no standards on any kind of metadata out there. You know, it's like, well, here's a new protocol for metadata to have all the English, all the geostamp, all the different languages. And then why not learn too from Wikipedia about this idea that people will participate, and you got your film, you know, translated to all these different languages, and .sub is an amazing site that we've used to translate our film into different languages too. And it's kind of like the rating thing, getting in there and rating different cinematography and rating different things, and really, you know, turning it all into a big conversation, a big media conversation in which you can participate, and if you want, get involved and help transcribe some footage. And I could see people really you know, collaborating on the internet and making their documentaries. And it's already happening with projects like Open Source Cinema, where it's a film about copyright, and he's using the internet to prove that copyright as we know it is totally obsolete, and he's having, you know, fans edit different scenes that he's then using back in his film. So check that out, Open Source Cinema. So it's just wide open. There's so many things that innovation, I'm sure, will expose to us very soon.
Last question. As you involve users more and more like that, translating films, and I think you touched on this, Mike, but maybe a little more, as they are translating your films, as they're remashing your content, will they still care about Iron Man? Will that ever go away, or as they get more involved? And I'm just saying, as they get more ownership over content, as they become a part of the process, what happens to the content that's created without them? Mike, anyone?
Well, just about caring about commercial content. I mean, in regards to your stuff, like, you mean as far?
I mean, as they get more involved, as a movie becomes such a collaborative thing, what happens to the movies that aren't made in that way?
Well, it's kind of like, it is that survival of the fittest thing. Like, I go out and speak to different places where filmmakers are like, well, how do I get an audience? And it's like, say something interesting. Like, you know, like, you have to work harder, and you have to do, it's like, it's gonna really weed people out, and it's like, you know, it's like people, I wanna make a film, or I wanna write music, or whatever, and it's like, but I don't wanna work hard, then you're not gonna do it. Like, so it's kinda like, you have to do this stuff, and the films that don't do it, are you gonna stay unseen? And it's like, I don't know, I just have this thing where I'm kinda like aggro, and I'm like, you know, work harder or something, you know, if you're an artist. So I think people are gonna do it and get out there, or they're not gonna do it, and that's just the way it is. But I think that's the way it should be, because in the old system, the people who are lazy and not, you know, put anything out there, they just have this P&A behind them and this whole system that pushes them to the forefront and like, look how cool they are. But if you stuck them in front of a webcam, no one would really care what they were saying and they wouldn't get an audience. So, I mean, it's like the cold, hard truth, just like nature. You know, like sometimes little baby birds get eaten by ants alive. Ah! But it's just the way it is, you know? But the system is good, you know, so.
Well, I think bottom line, like, we're moving out of the manufacturing era and into the information era, and you can no longer manufacture media. You just can't. You just can't say, oh, every evening we have 1 hour of this, and like every summer we release X number of these types of movies. Instead what you can do is actually way better and yeah, way more natural in the sort of way nature works, which is that every human being acts upon their own inspiration. So it really puts creatives in a really interesting position, because instead of being told how to manufacture content working for this big system, instead you can just say, what do I actually want to say? What would actually make sense for me to communicate and make something about? And if you do that, the blogosphere has already proven to us that you will find your audience that's in tune with you, that's on the same frequency and wavelength that you're on. So it's actually very simple and very easy. People just need to make things that they're passionate about.
Okay, so with that, I'm gonna open up, there are 2 mics if you want to start lining up, but for any Q&As. But while we do that, the one last thing I'll say is, yes, filmmakers can just make what they want, hopefully, going forward, but there's so much more that you have to do too, right? Because you're everything. You're your marketer, you're your distributor. Francis, for you, I mean, as a creative type, is that difficult to step out from behind the camera and then be forced to really market yourself, especially as we're working on improving discoverability, and in the meantime, it's, you know, kind of in your hands?
Extremely difficult for me. I don't like any aspect of that. The one thing I think that YouTube did for me was allowed me to connect directly with an audience in a way that changed that whole dynamic. Instead of you just, did I come out of my shell? Did it help me come out of my shell? I guess I don't consider myself introvert. I consider myself one-track minded. So I always want to be producing content. I don't want to be thinking about that other stuff. What happened with the YouTube audience is I was able to hear people, connect with people, and how they responded to my work. And that ended up feeding what I do, as well as helping, you know, as well as I was marketing my work. So they both, you know, dovetailed, and that was ideal.
All right, we have a question over here.
Yeah, I'm wondering, what do you guys do for promotion? And I'm wondering if you guys view traditional promotional media such as billboards, posters, etc., as going away, or as becoming still relevant, or if you just use internet as your promotional media.
Well, I call that type of promotion, that's what I call ambush advertising, because you're aiming to interrupt somebody in something they were trying to do with some other message, and that's the only way to get it to them. And I think that when you're in a world where everyone has complete free will on their machines, like it's not a TV where you really can't really control what's going on. This is your space, and you are totally going to rule that space. You really can't like sneak that much through. Maybe little bits of banners here and there, but you essentially have to make people voluntarily want to participate in what it is that you're doing. So, I mean, making films, that's the easiest thing, really. It's not like we're trying to sell lemonade or, you know, something weird that is, you know, but we're trying to promote something that is engaging. It's inherently engaging because it's, you know, film. So
I promote, which I think is like, is my mic on? So the way I promote, which I think is the most powerful and the best way, and it is the future, and it was something that used to be used a lot in the world, is just word of mouth. And that's the best thing, the best kind of promotion or advertising you get. So the way I generate word of mouth, like advertising, is just by being nice to people. So like, I know that's alien. I used to live here in LA, you know, being nice to people, like, who would have thunk? But, you know, like when I get messages from somebody on YouTube, whatever, I always reply and I'm like nice to them or anything. And then that person, just because you did that, which is maybe seem like nothing, they're gonna go out and tell all their friends and everyone they meet, you gotta see this movie, you gotta see this thing. So, I mean, those billboards and all that stuff, those are just lies. You have to go out there and put this big thing up there because no one would watch it or like it anyway. So it's just a big, no one's gonna like talk about it. So it's all about word of mouth, and I do it by just interacting with people.
I think the
Flyers was a big part of the Four-Eyed Monsters. I mean, you had fans out on the streets passing out flyers, passing out stickers.
Well, okay, one thing I do believe is I do believe in artwork, and the fact that you can take your message of your whole film and you can kind of try and condense it down into logo or things that kind of are symbolic of the whole, you know, kind of wavelength that your project is on, and people can see that and almost sense a little bit of a window into it. It's kind of like the little YouTube, you know, freeze frames that you get. You're like, I think I might want to dive in there. So, you know, I do like the idea that you can represent, and I think that's what people are doing kind of with their online profiles. It's like the inside of their locker in a way, like in high school, like open it up, you got stickers of all the different things that you like. And I think that that's the better way to use logo and promotion beyond just like blasting out a billboard. But one thing that the billboard kind of industry has, which is that in all of the whole advertising industry, including a lot of people in this room involved in Google advertising, is that you can act quick. And so again, the problem with a lot of what we do here is that the discovery can take months or sometimes years for a project to really reach a critical mass, whereas you put up a billboard, suddenly it's on people's minds. So I think that the more we can get discovery honed in, and so it's something that happens, so that word of mouth happens at this hyper speed that we never would have predicted would be possible, then it'll be totally irrelevant, the idea of having a billboard up.
Think of like billboards, like maybe like the Web 2.0 billboard is like through word of mouth marketing is like people's MySpace pages and their Facebooks and their blogs. They'll take your imagery, they'll take your trailer, they'll put all your stuff there. Those are like the new billboards, and it is like word of mouth, and it's sincere advertising because they believe in it. So that's kind of like your new advertising space, which you can reach people's eyeballs that are flipping through those pages. So that's kind of something that's available to, you know, a nobody.
Okay, let's.
No, I was just going to ask a question about, you know, technology like YouTube that allows you to kind of, you know, disseminate content on a massive scale like it does. I think it always has some cons to it. I think it's analogous to, you know, cell phones where, you know, now all of us are kind of just used to and conditioned to getting dropped calls, and that's just kind of a part of the technology. So it strengthens some areas, but some areas it also weakens. So what I want to know is that kind of visceral experience of watching something in a theater with other people on a huge screen, is that something we're going to have to get used to, and is that something we're able to get used to?
Get used to that going away, you mean?
Yeah, yeah.
I don't think it'll go away. I think people are going to want that experience too. Yeah. What surprises me is how willing they are to experience media in a different way, like with YouTube. You know, that so many people watch my feature film, which is 94 minutes, on the little YouTube window. You know, that's what's surprising to me, that they're willing to experience it a different way, but I don't think that that means that they don't want to experience stuff projected on a screen in an audience together, because that's still obviously a really popular way of enjoying entertainment.
And I think you really have to factor in, again, this whole kind of new phase of the internet thing. I think a lot of it is actually designed to take us out away from the internet. So the internet is part of our backbone of our lives. It's how we discover things and whatever. But I think that, you know, more people are going to see live music. Music's done really well because of MySpace and the fact that you can really discover all these bands. So we've had the experience where we were able to do a theatrical release because we had an internet fan base. And I think that if you look at, you know, any other industry, like the airline industry, they have all this very careful traffic control and different prices for different times when you want to fly. Look at the theatrical industry. It's a terribly designed, totally stupid industry.
Kind of look at it like this.
But someday I think it might get more intelligent. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, YouTube and all that stuff, it's not perfect, right? But like going theatrical, let's just say that's not yours. You don't have any control over that, right? And it's kind of like how I look at myself and the stuff I make, and it's like YouTube, it's not perfect, but it's mine. So, of course, it's not perfect, but it's yours. You have control and you have the power over it. Theatrical will never be yours. Theaters are awesome, yeah, but just think of it like that. It's yours. I'd rather have my own thing that's not perfect than, you know, not have it at all. So.
And also, you're asking about, will that ever go away? No, because it's a completely different thing. We socially will always want to go out, you know, to a theater and watch a movie. It's a social thing more than it is. I mean, it's also entertainment, but it's about getting together. Whereas internet, we're coming to you. I mean, you don't even have to get out of bed. You know, you're right there watching the movie. So It's just different. They coexist.
Pietro is the family, and the family do there because we're here. Don't forget that, okay?
All right. Theatrical
Amen.
That's right. That's right.
No, but I think that's true, and I remember like a lot of us were just at South by Southwest in the theater there, the Alamo, where you get your beer and your nachos, and it's a much more communal experience that, you know, you're actually much different than like date night when you just go see whatever generic film has come out.
I think there's potential for, as Arin was saying, a lot of revolution within the theatrical industry, just like everything else, but that doesn't mean it'll go away.
Okay.
Hi, this is a question for any and all the panelists who might have an answer for, I thought it was interesting. But what would you like to see from Google and YouTube to improve your visibility of your content and streamline the revenue stream to the creators?
How do we improve
That's an answer for Google, I guess.
What would you guys like to see to improve discoverability and monetization?
I would like to see higher money from the partner program. I mean, I think that the partner program is really cool, and we're definitely a part of it. Like, we were excited to be part of it. Anybody that we talk to, most filmmakers don't have a clue about it, actually. So it's like news to their ears that you can go to youtube.com/partners and join. I think it should be more accepting, because it's kind of hard to be accepted right now. I assume that it'll become, you know, more open to people. But I think that yeah, I think that you should really just have way more control. Like, I think you should be able to make your own little like banners that kind of pop up, or your own little videos that you kind of go to, because maybe you're doing a show and you want to halfway through the show go to a video that you made that's promoting a product that you actually really do like, and you've made a little endorsement for. You know, I think that if you're going to make a film and sell it to a TV channel that then is going to try and monetize it, why not just take a step back and figure out, okay, well, I'm sort of now my own TV channel, so what am I going to do here to be able to make the budget I need for each piece of new content? And so, yeah, I think that all the ways that let the way you will monetize your content be part of the creative process, and not, you know, factories, one setting, one size fits all. You know, I think then you'll let the creative minds solve those problems and do it much better than a marketing person ever really could.
So, well said. I mean, higher quality is obviously something we always want for our films, even if it's this big. I mean, YouTube is a huge, huge company getting bigger and bigger, and we'd love to be able to show our stuff at the best quality. And then also, like I was saying, the ability to rate films in different ways besides just stars and favorites would be great. And then also, we have hypertext, but hyperfilm would be great in the sense of being able to click the film to find out more. It's along the lines of what Arin was saying, in the sense that, yeah, he uploaded it 17 different languages. I've done, I think, 3 or 4 different languages on My Name is Lisa. But if we're all able to do it in the same video, and then you can just scroll down to which language you want to watch, and then maybe there's a director's commentary. You can just click for director's commentary, or pause it and click on the actor, and it says what other movies they've been in. And then you know, getting a type of like Rotten Tomatoes reviews that aren't just comments, but more you know, traditional film reviews of your films, and more create a home for filmmakers, like an IMDb or Rotten Tomatoes, or, you know, I don't know, pick your company.
And
a wish list, obviously.
Yeah, I have another one that's totally counterintuitive to, I don't know if you would ever think of it, but I think that instead of us uploading to YouTube, the videos should be downloaded from us. And if you think of podcasting and the way podcasting works, you post your material to an RSS feed. And that's very great technology, because you can also attach licensing that then allows it to be used in other various ways. And I think you should be able to take your YouTube account and say, everything on my RSS feed I want to be a video. I mean, it's just an attached enclosure. Right. It's easy technology, but I think that would kind of really change the way a content creator can think of one-stop publishing. You publish it to all screens, theatrical, whatever, YouTube, all of them in one spot, and that would be a way that would empower it.
I think the point, it is an unfinished product, clearly, and with a lot to do. Okay, last question, because we...
Thank you very much. My name is Lisa Corsato. I'm a professional actress. First of all, I want to congratulate all the panelists. You're all wonderful. This conversation has been extremely cerebral from my point of view, and I would like to ask Javier Prato, who we haven't heard that much from, what's the emotional importance here with your filmmaking, and how is it a departure from conventional filmmaking? How does it feed you? I don't want to hear from your intellect, I want to hear from your heart. I loved your film, Jesus Christ, the musical. It really affected me, so I want to know a little more about that from you.
How did that affected you? How?
Well, I thought it was controversial. I thought it was provocative. I thought it was hot. I thought it was unusual. It made me feel something. I'm an actress. I don't want to hear all this talk about revenues and streaming this and this and this. I'm not a techie. I'm a human being. So that's how it affected me. And I want to know how you were inspired to make that.
You know, it's art. You know, come on. I mean, we don't have nobody tell us, you know what, you have to make a film about this rabbit, you know, who gets hurt by this bear, you know. We do whatever we want. You know, one morning we wake up, you know, that video, Jesus Will Survive. You know, I did it only one day, and you know, it's just for fun. You know, I didn't do it to try to sell the ticket. You know.
But you found an audience, so.
What's that?
Does it change your feelings about it to get the reactions you've gotten?
No. I mean, I got bad answers and good answers, you know, and I respect them all. You know, I'm an artist, period, you know, and that's the power that we have. You know, you have the power, we have the power, and the people that create art have the power to just create something overnight and distribute it worldwide with a click of a button.
It's pretty amazing.
So, I mean, we have to celebrate here. You know, I think we're in the right path.
I agree.
And I love it.
I agree.
You know, so, right?
You have a cheering section.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
Thank you. Last question, and then we'll wrap it up.
Hey, I was wondering if Google has thought of partnering with theaters that show movies, you know, movie theaters. Because we saw Iron Man, and they have all these ads before the movie now for like newspapers and stuff. And I thought, oh, well, my manager, Carrie, thought of this. What if, you know, YouTube had filmmakers like us, I'm one too, of doing, thanks, of doing, you know, showing all the stuff that YouTube does before regular movies.
Like KCRW does?
Would you want, I'll turn it to them,
Every
but
movie is
I mean, would
KCRW.
you want to see your content on the...
You already have a thing that says embeddable in blogs. You can choose whether or not you want that. You can choose whether or not you want advertising. If there was a check mark, no, I know. Yeah. If there was a check mark to say this film is available theatrically, of course we would all check that box off. Of course.
So yeah, I mean, in the old days they used to always show shorts before films, and I think that was a really cool thing. You know, either a cartoon or just a regular short. And now it's ads. And that's really disappointing. I think it would be really neat to see that again.
And my film is available if anyone wants to show it before your feature-length film. If we have a big producer in the room that wants
Thank
to.
you.
No, but also, I mean, I've talked to you a little bit about this, Sarah. I know that YouTube's goal is to create the best website possible. I mean, they're working online. But I do see kind of in a way of MTV, you know, 20 years ago and 25 years ago, and how they then turned into MTV films. I mean, I could see YouTube films not counter against their online division, but working, coexisting, you know, and you know, My Name is Lisa, YouTube short film becomes a YouTube feature film, or any of these, God Inc. could be a series as well as a feature film series, and you could be producing it both ways. And so I think YouTube itself, I mean, from my point of view, definitely should be working with feature films, you know, distribution, just like MTV films eventually did. So,
future to be determined. We'll talk after. Okay, so with that, we're going to close it up. Thank you guys so much for being here. I want to thank all the filmmakers, Ben, Mike, Francis, Arin, Javier. Thank you guys so much. And then to finish up the night, I'm going to bring out Cuong Do, who was YouTube's third ever engineer and is now heading engineering for features on YouTube.com, and he's going to talk a little bit about what's going on in the Santa Monica office. So thank you guys very much.
Thanks. Thank you. Great job, guys. Very interesting talk. Take care, guys. All right. Hello? Okay. I guess I'm on. So I'm going to share a little bit of a historical perspective. I'm going to share a little historical perspective before handing over things to the Santa Monica team here, because I wanted to give a little personal perspective as an early employee of YouTube. So over the last 2.5 years that I've spent at YouTube, it's been an amazing time. It's been a time of incredible change. I've seen us go from, stuff like, I've seen us go from a small group that migrated from cafe to cafe and from, leased office building to, well, a slight upgrade, which was a office that was kind of rodent infested and kind of smelled in weird ways. But, it was home for us. And from that, now we're part of Google, and we have great meals cooked for us every single day by, world-class Google chefs. So, it's been, quite a ride over time. I've also seen us go from like this unknown brand. I mean, people were very confused when I told them I was joining YouTube. They thought that maybe I jumped off the deep end and maybe I had these delusions of touring with the band U2, perhaps, but, fast forward to now, and it's amazing. Like, if I wear YouTube, like, kind of merchandise anywhere in the world, it's instantly recognizable. So it's been a pretty amazing ride, and I think that one of the things that has stayed constant across all the change and all the growth we've seen, though, is that we have lots and lots of potential, but that's sort of limited by how much engineering talent we can bring in. And when we came down here to talk with the Santa Monica engineering team, we were thrilled by their enthusiasm and their passion. I mean, it was pretty amazing just kind of how happy they were to see us and how excited they were to work on YouTube. And recently, they've introduced 2 major features to the website, and those features, while not, maybe being out for like 1 or 2 weeks, have met with overwhelming positive response from our community. And they've also contributed to a number of other key areas in our website, that, like helping it to scale. So I'd like to introduce, I'd like to share the spotlight with these guys, certainly. So I want to hand it over to a couple of the architects of our success here in Santa Monica. Hopefully these guys are coming out. There we go. We have Brian Glick, our product manager. And then we have Philo Juang. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. And he's a tech lead here.
Hi, everyone. So my name is Brian Glick. I'm a product manager on the YouTube engineering team here in Santa Monica. My most viewed video on YouTube has 179 views, so watch out, filmmakers. I'm coming for you. So Philo and I are going to be talking about YouTube in general. We're going to be talking about our product, the opportunity, with a focus about the YouTube work happening here in Santa Monica, and then we're going to open up for Q&A after. And really the theme around everything we're doing is people. It's about the YouTube community and the people that drive it. We wouldn't be where we are today without our strong community, and that really is the focus of what we're doing here in Santa Monica. So for me, it's really amazing to see the scale of where YouTube is today. We have 10 hours of content being uploaded every single minute of every single day. The scale is amazing. The platform really gives users the ability to reach an audience in ways that you just really couldn't do 3 years ago, and so much of our panel touched on that. you know, another way to look at it is that we have over 7,200 feature-length movies uploaded every single day. And another way to look at it is, someone mentioned this on a blog recently, I can't remember who mentioned this, but it's the equivalent of having 600 television channels broadcasting original content 24 hours a day, which is not bad considering that half of what's on television today are Bowflex ads, and the other half are Gilligan's Island's reruns. So you might say that, you know, not all the content on YouTube is as interesting as the content on television, but I'd argue that even the less watched content on YouTube is deeply cared about by someone. Someone really loves that content. And I don't know anyone that cares about the Bowflex ads. Woo, Bowflex! So the most amazing part of all of this, though, is really, you know, the democratization of media. And you know, that was really a big theme here on the panel, because it's not 27 producers sitting in a room that's deciding what gets popular on YouTube. You know, it's our community. It's the community that surfaces up the best content. And I think that's really powerful. But we also I want to share a slide with you that we use internally all the time, you know, to make the point that despite the scale and the size of YouTube, we can't get fat and lazy, or we're going to get led off to slaughter. We know that we're only part of the way to our full potential today. We know that every day our users, our partners, and our advertisers have new ideas for us, or they struggle, you know, with things that they want to do on YouTube. So rest assured that, you know, we're taking this opportunity very seriously, and we know we have a lot of work ahead of ourselves. So that brings me to the 4 core pieces of what we do on YouTube. The 4 core pieces of the user experience on YouTube today, which is discovery, community, distribution, and identity. And they all overlap at times, but it's identity that we're really focusing on here in the Santa Monica team. So we're going to talk about that last. So first, discovery. Discovery is all about helping you find the content that's interesting and relevant to you, whether it's personal or professional. That means making sure that you can search for videos, you can get video recommendations, you can browse through the content on our pages and really find stuff that you want. And users first get to videos a few different ways. Friends email you a link, you find the embedded player on another page, you use a search engine on the home page, and then once you're already watching a video, there's a few other ways that you get to videos after that. You look at related videos, you search from there, you browse. And we need to make sure that each of these experiences is really as easy as possible for me to find what I want to watch. Next, community. And users interacting with other users is really the heartbeat of YouTube. There's a few different ways you can do that. You can comment on a video responses, and then some newer initiatives we're doing like streams. With streams being a very interactive and social way to engage with other users around video. So this is something that we're currently testing out on our test tube site, so go ahead and check that out. Next, community, or around community rather, there's this little video called Chocolate Rain. I don't know if you guys have heard of this. And I really believe that this video wouldn't be where it is today without the YouTube community, without people contributing to it. It was amazing to see the community come in and really kind of add this whole narrative to the video, a whole story to it that wouldn't be there, just on its own. We've got 21 million watches on the video, hundreds of thousands of comments, thousands of video responses, and plenty of awesome parodies. I love the McGruff the Crime Dog. That was awesome. So the community is really critically important to what we're doing on YouTube. Next, distribution. So the goal of our distribution strategy on YouTube is to extend our reach beyond youtube.com by allowing you to discover and share videos wherever you are, whether it's elsewhere on the web or whether it's beyond the browser on a mobile phone or a device. Even today we announced a partnership with Hewlett-Packard, allowing users with HP devices to participate in the YouTube community. Finally, that brings us to identity, which is really the focus of what we're doing here in Santa Monica. And it's really closely related to each of our other areas. It's about you being at the center of your video experience and giving you the tools and the ability to represent yourself in the community. To me, giving you that power to manage and broadcast your identity is really the cornerstone in using the YouTube platform to reach out, to be heard, and to make a powerful impact. Our recent You Choose debates were a really great example of that. And we learned that even snowmen can have a voice. Fantastic. And when we think about users as well, we think about users in a few different ways. You know, like you've got the users that obviously watch videos, you've got users that upload videos, but then there's also users in between, and they should also have voices as well in our community. Even if you don't upload videos, you know, I shouldn't need to have to upload a video in order to be, you know, recognized and popular and successful in the YouTube community. And we can affect that in a few, you know, small but significant ways, like recent ratings and recent comments are things that we've launched recently that really, you know, let me call out and show my involvement in the YouTube community there on my channel page. So now I'd like to introduce you to Philo Juang, who's one of our tech leads on the Santa Monica team, who's going to talk more about what we've been doing in the office.
Hello, my name is Philo, and I'm a software engineer here at Google and YouTube. And when people ask me, what do you do at Google? I always say, well, I work on Google, and they usually tell me, oh, I love Google. Every day, it helps me do something at work. But then they ask me, what do you do at Google? And I say, well, actually, I work on YouTube. And then they say one of two things. Usually either, oh, I really love YouTube. Or number two, I hate YouTube. Yesterday I was at work and someone sent me a link to this cat in a shower. And I lost the next 3 hours because I kept on watching video after a cat in the shower. But anyway, working on YouTube is really an incredible experience. As Brian mentioned, we work on the things that revolve around the identity, one of the core focus areas of YouTube. And someone said we should come up with a team logo. We put the U in YouTube, you know, kind of like the Uncle Sam, World War II. Anyway. Anyway, we build tools that personalize and customize, so to speak, YouTube to your own personal experience. For example, I'm a big soccer player. One of my favorite soccer players' name is Kaká. I hope that means something different in Brazil, but because he's actually really darn good. But some other people on YouTube are looking for music videos, feature films, or people falling off skateboards, cats in showers, who knows? So why shouldn't we build a site that can figure these things out and accommodate you in your space, you the user? We just had 5 amazing filmmakers here with an incredible amount of talent, and they had something different to say for different audiences. Why can't we build a site that can make all of us feel comfortable in our own space and change YouTube the way we like it? That's what we're trying to accomplish here in Santa Monica. So the brilliant thing is that it's still a very startup feel. And as an engineer, what that means to me is that if you come up with a great idea, you can spearhead it onto the web in front of millions of people really, really quickly. And with identity, we build things that speak to people directly. And you get great feedback that you can turn around and act on right away. And more importantly, with the startup feel, you can be irreverent. Have fun with the whole process, I say. For example, look, kittens in showers. Come on, I don't care who you are, that's funny. Anyway, all right, back to the serious stuff. So this here hasn't been officially released yet. Still in beta, but we're going to give y'all a sneak peek. And one of the big things that we're working on is experimenting with a new personalized homepage. And the goal is to bring videos that are interesting and relevant to you right in front of you. It's like your window to YouTube. For example, your subscriptions, videos that we'd like to recommend to you, feature videos that our crack team of experts up in the Bay Area have picked out for you. And other things like one of the filmmakers around here, I think it was Arin, was talking about how if you want to get an audience, you want to be able to have your friends share videos with you, see what they're watching, see what they're sharing. Well, we have something like that with the friend activity module. So you can be able to see, what your friends are liking. Maybe you find out that you don't really like what they like. It's all right. But the point is to make it more personalized. You can move these modules up, you can move them down, you can move them entirely. It's your space. And you can decide what kind of videos you want to see, when you want to see them, and where you want to see them. On the flip side, we all know that y'all like to send funny and interesting videos to your friends, waste their time, posting them up on social networks. So we made it easier to do this. For example, if you're a Facebook user, when you click Facebook, it should just show up in your mini feed. If you're even better, what the site does is it now keeps track of what you do if you're logged in. So if you post a dig a lot, instead of MySpace, the dig link should move up to the top. Same with the blog, or if you like to email your mom a lot or something like that, it should just be there immediately just for you. There's a lot more that we don't have really much time to go into, like more share options, but if you click the link on your right, it'll show you a pretty nice list of things that you can do. So moving on more quickly, one way we can improve the experience is also improve existing features that we have. One example being the inbox, which we brought from a kind of like, we call it OSO 2005, which is not that long ago, but in the web it's positively ancient. And we brought it up to something more modern, made more faster, make it more usable, so you can keep up with everything that's going on in your inbox that much more quickly. And it's important for big feature film producers, people who have a lot of people they're communicating with. Oops, that was the wrong one. Because that way the people can keep in touch with their audience faster and be able to be more responsive. Going backwards, another example is the address book, where we centralize all the contact management, like your friends, subscriptions, subscribers, all in one place. You can add, remove, and changes them, so you don't have to keep on searching for them wherever your subscribers are, wherever your subscriptions are. And just like the inbox, it's faster, freshly renovated. All right, my wife watched a lot of HGTV, so I had to throw that in there. Anyway, one thing I wanted to call out is that we also have a lot of fun working here at YouTube. On April Fool's, YouTube wanted to rickroll all of the users. And if you're not familiar with rickrolling, what you do is you say, this is the greatest video ever, or check this out, women in bikinis. And you even post up something like a fake thumbnail to try to lure people into clicking on your link. And then what you do is you send them to this 80s video of Rick Astley just dancing around, singing, you know, all that 80s thing. You know. And they say, ha ha, we rickrolled you. Anyway, so if you're in the Santa Monica office, what we did was built in a time bomb in there that went off on April Fool's in 10 different countries around the world. And we got like 7 million people, and 45,000 enough that were either irritated or got the joke or whatever to post a comment. Stuff like, oh, you made the world good. Or this is my favorite one here. Be right back, killing myself. I love the internet so much. You know? See, these are the ones that, number one, we can print. And number two, were written in languages that we actually understand. So we had a couple of ones in other languages. I think it was German or Russian or something. So we got some friends to come and read them. They said, you don't really want to know what that means. Yeah. It's kind of like, you got me, you jerks. But a lot less polite than that. Yeah. And on that note, I'd like to show you this video. Actually, no, I'm just kidding. We wouldn't rickroll you. Anyway, thank you all for coming and listening to us. We hope you had a great time. Look, kittens.
So now we're going to open up to Q&A. So if you have any questions, you can just line up on the mics at the side.
Hi.
Hey.
I didn't even formulate it or anything. I have a bunch of questions.
Okay.
First of all, I'd like to know if you guys are looking into bettering the compression method. I know you just added that HQ thing, but I'd like it if it was all HQ and we could get rid of all this crappy video quality stuff.
Right, right. So, I mean, we did recently launch high quality videos, you saw, and you know, it's dependent on the quality of the video that gets uploaded to us. So people have been uploading high quality videos for a while, so you know, we're working on refining that all the time, but
What size do you consider high quality?
so the bit rate it needs to be, I don't know that offhand. But you know, generally we can take what is it? I think up to a pretty large file size. So you know, send us the highest quality video you have, and you know, if we can, we'll show that in high quality.
I also wanted to know about the front page. I was kind of bummed out, you know, that you guys personalized it. I think you have a ways to go with the personalization because honestly, I really like the featured videos a lot more than seeing stuff that I think you guys, through algorithms or whatever, think is related to the videos that we like. Like, the features show stuff that's completely different than anything that we would ever be able to find our own that's related to stuff that we've seen previously.
Sure.
So I think that's, I mean, it's just my opinion.
Right.
I think it's a step in the wrong direction.
Right. Well, I mean, it's really about personalizing the experience for you. So if you like featured videos, you can move that up to the top of the page. You know, we're really all about trying to help you discover, you know, content across YouTube in all sorts of different ways, whether it is featured or whether it's your subscriptions or whether it's what your friends are up to. And, you know, we're not, eventually as we evolve the page, you know, we want to give you many more options on, you know, ways to find content, and featured is, you know, a big part of that, but there's many other ways that our users tell us they want to find content.
Hello.
Hi.
Why are favorites stopped at 500?
It's a good question.
It's mainly for scalability reasons, mainly because there were some people who were, unfortunately, there were some people who were abusing the feature, and so yeah, we had to put in a limit somewhere, but certainly that's something that we want to ease off over time.
Do you really have
I've hit 500, so I can't favorite any more videos, and I feel like I want to favorite videos, so it's kind of bizarre that that hasn't been opened. Second thing, my playlists, they're all stopped at 200, which is kind of embarrassing if I'm collecting a playlist of everything that has to do with an amazing internet thing. Well, there's more than 200 videos that relate to that, so like now I have like 2 playlists for the same thing, so if I want to have someone watch a whole playlist of everything I've collected, now they can't do that, so please open playlists up. 16:9, we all shoot in 16:9, it's 2008, so like what's the deal? I don't want to be watching this weird black, is that coming?
It's one of those suggestions that we hear all the time, so you know we're looking at that. We're always focusing on just, you know, trying to build the best product we can for our users, so you know.
And the last thing is I'm subscribed to like over 100 different, you know, YouTube channels.
Dude, you're a power
so
user,
you guys somehow cut it off at 5 pages. So essentially, if I don't log into YouTube for one day, I'm now missing videos from the people I'm subscribed to because it only stops at 5 pages. I can't see things that were posted like 18 hours ago. I can only see stuff that was 15 hours ago and above.
That's definitely something that we are working on. Again, it's a lot of this stuff, unfortunately, was like, you know, the site is dying, so we need to, you know, kind of do something to improve scalability. But certainly, we know that this puts a limit on legitimate uses, and that's something that I'm having my team like work on in the very near future.
Or you can just log in every half hour or so. That would also solve that.
I'm a big fan of Vimeo.com due to the 720p, you know, HD, widescreen, all that stuff. And also, anyone can download my link if I want them to, the .mov high def file. Can you just add that, and we can just like let people download it if we choose?
So, you know, like I said, we're, you know, tons of suggestions we're hearing all the time. So, you know, we're focused on just trying to build the best experience we can. And, you know, we'll see what, you know, we come up with in the future. One more question.
Okay. Cool. This is not easily solved, and I know that, but it's important. As a filmmaker, comments on the internet are the most worthless thing on the planet. In terms of building community, comments? They're great.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You know, funny kitty video, comments can drive more views. Awesome. In terms of putting out film on the internet, which YouTube kind of has both, comments really are not useful. And I would argue it's because of anonymity, and I'm not saying you unmask all of your viewers and, you know, force them to not be anonymous, but there's got to be some kind of way of addressing kind of commenters that want to remain anonymous and commenters that are engaging in criticism. Maybe like as a creator, I'd love to be able to filter and only view, or, you know, choose to only view comments that are coming from people that are not just saying first pwned. I don't care. That doesn't help me. But I would love to know, you know what? Hey, listen, I didn't like your video and here's why. Or I loved your video and here's why. 5 stars, you know, that doesn't mean anything to me. But hearing criticism, and it's there. It's in the comments. It's buried under 800 useless comments.
Right.
And if there's some way that we could, I mean, OpenID, maybe that, you know, there's something in there. I know Google's working on kind of starting to deal with, you know, integrating the data, the social timeline from Facebook and MySpace, et cetera. It would be great if, you know, when I comment, you can click, see my Facebook profile, know who I am, see my blog, have my identity be known, so that when I say, hey, you're gay, that comes back to me. So I'm not going to say that. And until we do that, you know, comments are going to continue to completely suck.
Yeah. So I mean, that's definitely one of the challenges we have. Like, as at our scale, it's, you know, something we need to fight with and try to figure out a way to make the comments, you know, relevant. Like, obviously we want to give everyone a voice in the community, but at the same time, one of the, you know, suggestions we hear all the time from our users is, you know, how can I filter this out so that the haters don't, you know, get on my video? And you know, we're looking at ways that we can offer that. Obviously today you can moderate all the comments on your video, but, you know, as soon as you get above a certain point, that becomes impossible to do, because, you know, your video is just so popular and so many comments. So that's something that we are looking at really closely. Great, thanks everyone. So we're here until 11, so have a great time.